software a little. But in the meanwhile, let me just tell you that it depends on you how you're going to make it interactive. More than my own effort, it's your effort that's going to help us learn together. So, good morning once again. So this is SWOC analysis exclusively for teachers. When I say teachers, I mean teachers at all levels. School teachers, college teachers, university teachers. I've tried to make it as comprehensive as possible so that it applies to people at various levels. Though I know that most of you teach at the university level, perhaps there are some teachers at other levels also. So this presentation, because I know that there is a time constraint, it's only 90 minutes, and that's why I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Perhaps I'll leave open to you further scope for exploring it and then doing more on your own. Let's just begin. Knowing oneself, that's how Professor Narsimlu introduced the topic to you, and maybe he talked to you about it yesterday, I don't know. He talked to you about knowing oneself, knowing yourself, knowing myself, and perhaps when he made this mention, he was telling us that one of you said that it's one of the toughest things. Let's see if it's really tough, at least from one perspective. As a teacher, can we look at ourselves a little more closely, a little more carefully, a little more profoundly, and what else can we gain by doing that? So if I begin by asking you a very simple question, when is the best day in your life? If you can unmute yourself, maybe you can speak. I'm sorry, I cannot unmute you. When is the best day in your life? I've given you three answers there: yesterday, tomorrow, today.
Every day.
Every day. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Every day is the best day. Okay. And any other answers? Okay, I like that answer. Every day is the best day if we make it the best day, if we start making efforts in that direction. So who makes a day the best day? It's we ourselves. So in case I want to make it the best day today, I can make it. That's what perhaps everyone has in mind when you say that every day is the best day. But I think the best day in life, not only of course it's every day, but it is the day on which we decide to understand ourselves and to make an effort to improve ourselves and to start walking in the direction of achieving excellence, perfection, whatever. I think that day, the day when you take that decision and when you start that journey, I think that's the best day. As long as we have not taken that decision, we are where we are. We are completely stagnant, and our professional growth, individual growth, human growth, whatever, it does not happen at all. So the most important thing in life that needs to happen to every one of us is the day, I think the moment when we decide that, yes, I would like to know what I am, who I am, why am I here, what am I doing, and where do I want to go? So these are a few questions that we need to answer so that our journey begins. He who knows others is a wise person. So I think many of us are very good at it.
Actually,
yes, please. Yeah, he who knows others is a wise person, because many of us know others. Many of us are very good at knowing others, especially when finding faults with others. So we are extremely good at it. This fellow did not do it well. That fellow has this problem. That fellow never can improve. That kind of things. Even positive side also, we know others, what they are, what their strengths are, what they are good at, etc. But knowing oneself makes us enlightened. Think of people like Gautama Buddha, who achieved whatever they did, only because they started looking within. So that day when we start looking within, we get enlightened and we know ourselves. I'm going to make my presentation in 3 parts. And part 1 is what is the SWOC analysis. And then I'll go on to very briefly consider why this is SWOC analysis. And finally, I will tell you how we do this analysis. The first and second parts are not very important to me because most of you perhaps already know. I'll not spend much time on the first 2 parts, but the third part we'll do in a little more detail. So question 1 that I'd like to ask myself is, what is SWOC analysis? So without asking you this question, because I'm absolutely sure that you know what it is, SWOC analysis is, SWOC is these 4 things. It's an acronym. So the 4 letters stand for 4 things. S stands for strengths, W for weaknesses, O for opportunities, and C for challenges. So our strengths and our weaknesses, our opportunities and our challenges are what we need to know so that we can begin that journey towards whatever we want to be, maybe achieving our goals, accomplishing our ambitions, and then, starting the journey towards perfection. So these are the 4 things that everyone must know. This is some kind of self-realization which leads us to self-actualization. What is a strength? I told you already, I'll not spend much time on these things because you already know what a strength is. A strength must qualify 2 conditions. Condition number 1, it's within you. It's internal. So a strength is something that's already with you. Within means it need not be your physical body. That means, for instance, if you have a purse in your pocket and then if a lot of money is there, that's your strength, though it's not a part of your physical body. If you have a huge almirah and then you have lots of books there, and then that's a strength because you already have them. So what you already have with you. And the second condition is it must help you achieve something that you want, a goal that you've set for yourself. So suppose I have a lot of money, but I don't put it to any use. Now money is with me, it still does not become a strength because I have not put it to any use. I have a lot of knowledge and I have not used that knowledge. That's not a strength. That's just a resource that I have. That's all. A resource that has not been put to any use. So 2 conditions that need to be fulfilled to for something to be called a strength is it is internal and it must be put to some good use so that we can achieve our goals. We'll come to more examples, details in course of time. Let me just leave it at that. Then what's a weakness? A weakness, again, is something very similar. It's again, this also is internal. But unlike a strength, it stops me from achieving what I want to achieve. For instance, if I am very diffident. So though, I have it inside me, it does not allow me to move in the direction of the goal that I have set for myself. So this is works like a barrier, an obstacle. This is like a speed breaker. So anything that's internal and that is stopping me from achieving my goals is a weakness. Move on. The third one, an opportunity. What's an opportunity? An opportunity is not within us. Unlike strengths and weaknesses, opportunities are outside, they're external. So, or maybe to put it in a different way, I have very limited control over them. While strengths and weaknesses, I have absolute control over them, to change them, to modify them, and to improve on them, to build on them. Opportunities are not like that. Opportunities are outside. I have limited control or sometimes no control over them. They just happen outside. And they can give me an advantage, but on one condition. The condition is if I leverage them to some good use. If I know how to leverage them, they become useful to me. Otherwise, they are just there. That's all. It's outside. Just like, tree outside and then I've closed the window. It's not available to me. That's an opportunity. And finally, what's a threat? Like an opportunity, a challenge also is outside me, outside my control. I have very limited control over it. It's an external situation. And if I just keep quiet and don't do anything, it may damage my scope for achieving my goals. So I've set some my goals, and if I don't do anything, if I don't encounter the challenges, if I don't manage my challenges well, if I don't have a strategy to overcome them, my chances of achieving my goals will be damaged. So that's a challenge. So to put it simply again, to summarize what I've just told you, where are strengths and weaknesses? Is there anyone who can help me if I could see the screen as well as the faces of the participants? I don't know. I think this does not allow it, I think. Zoom allows that. Anyway, so where are strengths and weaknesses?
Within us.
Within us, very good. Within us means not physically within us, but with us rather. Maybe with us is a better way of saying. So they are with us. We already have them, and we have absolute
It's more
control over.
psychological thing.
Sorry?
It's more like a psychological thing.
They are psychological, they are physical, they are any resources. For instance, I told you already, if I have 500 shirts with me, I have maybe 100 pairs of clothes. That's a strength. Maybe what purpose do you use it for is a different, but I have them, I possess them. So they need not always be psychological. They can be physical also. They can be material also. They can be concrete things. They can be abstract things. Any kind of resources that you have, right? So I have written some a list there: resources, your performance, your capabilities, your skills, your values, your goals. All that you have inside are your strengths and weaknesses because they are inherently with you. And strengths are good, weaknesses are bad. I think very obvious and very easy to follow. So to repeat that, strengths and weaknesses are with me. Strengths are positive and weaknesses are negative. And strengths relate to resources, performances, capabilities, skills, etc. For instance, if skill, my English language, English speaking skills. If I have that skill, that's the strength. If I cannot speak good English in certain situations, that's a weakness. It's like that. So a skill that you have is a strength. A skill that you do not have is a weakness. A resource that you have is a strength. A resource that you do not have is a weakness. A value you adhere to is a strength. A value you abandon, you don't care for, could be a weakness. Right? These are all within. Then the second set of them. There are opportunities and challenges. Where are they? Where are they?
In the outside world.
Outside. They are in the outside world. They are in the outside world. They are external. We do not already have them, but in case we reach out, we have them, or they may affect us tomorrow. If I don't do anything today, tomorrow they may affect me, they may impinge on me, they can do good and bad to me. So they may relate to politics, environment, geography, economics, legislation, government policies, competition from outside, demographics, environment, anything that, I have very limited control over them, as I already told you. And opportunities are positive and challenges are negative. Opportunities are good if used. Of course, condition is always if used. So opportunities are good if used. Challenges are bad if not attacked, if not encountered. Clear up to this point? Any questions? Anybody can unmute and ask a question at this point?
No questions, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, what we'll do is I'll take a quick quiz. I just would like to know how far have you understood what I have told you. So I'll ask a question and you have to tell me whether it's a strength or a weakness or an opportunity or a challenge. The question is, you left the university a decade ago. Imagine that 10 years ago you finished your MA, PhD, whatever, and you joined the university, and now you are a teacher, and you've not acquired any further qualifications, certifications, degrees, diplomas, whatever. So what's that?
Opportunity.
Weakness.
Weakness, sir.
Weakness.
How can that be an opportunity? It cannot be.
Weakness.
It's certainly a weakness because 20 years you haven't done anything to equip yourself. What makes you a better teacher? Because you've been into teaching for already 10 years and you are likely to be here for another decade or so. So if you have not done anything for 10 years, it's not likelihood you're not likely to do something more to equip yourself with the necessary skills, upskill you, right, upgrade you and uplift you. And it naturally is, I think, a weakness. Anyone who has not done anything, not only in the last 10 years, but in the last 1 year, in the last 3 months, any teacher who has not done anything in the last 3 months to improve at least one skill of oneself, I think has a weakness. I think time has been wasted, goals have not been achieved, and priorities are not appropriate. There is something wrong with that person. Okay, one more quiz. You have to again tell me whether it's a strength or weakness or opportunity or challenge. A new university is opening in your area. You live in Hyderabad, and then there is one more university coming up. The government has already made an announcement, and they are looking out for experienced like you.
Opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Opportunity.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Great. All of you are right. Yes. It is the university because you did not open the university. You hardly have any control over that. The government opened that university, but it has brought an opportunity. Something good is going to happen if you leverage that opportunity. If you know how to utilize that opportunity, they are looking for people like you. You already have put in some experience, and then you have an experienced teacher. There is an opening for you, and maybe you'll become a professor. You are a lecturer now, and you'll become a professor. There's some such thing, or maybe better facilities, better whatever. I'll not go into details at this point. So there is an opportunity that's available to you outside. There is a third question. So you have to tell me again whether it's a strength or weakness or opportunity or challenge. The question is, government is legislating skills now, saying that upgradation of skills is mandatory for every service teacher.
Challenge, sir. Challenge.
You are very fast. Really very good. I'm happy. So from the next academic year, if you don't upgrade your skills, if you don't improve your skills, they say, oh, your increments will be stopped, your salary something will happen to it, you will lose your job, some such condition. And UGC often makes that kind of condition sometimes, right? So that is a challenge. In case I don't improve myself, in case I don't do a certain course that they say is compulsory, mandatory, right? I have the possibility of losing my job or losing an increment or maybe being penalized for that is very much there. So that is a challenge. And the last one, don't answer quickly. I want you to pay a little attention. Take half a minute, don't worry. This is a tricky question rather. So then answer me. The question is, you have a personal library. Good. So what your subject books are there. But it has fewer volumes of books than many of your college colleagues have got. They have 500 books, you have only 100 books, but you have 100 books in your library. Yeah.
It's a challenge, sir. Challenge.
It could be challenge, sir.
It's a weakness.
Weakness, sir. Weakness.
It's a weakness.
Yes.
So weakness. It's an opportunity
How is it an opportunity?
because I can get books that I want. I can add to the things that I feel like buying, and I can increase my
Positive way of
library.
looking at it, I appreciate that. Okay, all answers are correct. I don't want to disappoint any one of you. It all depends upon, I told you already, it's a tricky question. It all depends upon how we look at it. I have a library with 100 books and somebody else has 500 books. I don't know what books they are. Suppose I have only 5 books, but I read them, and somebody has 500 books, he does not read them. Maybe the information is not complete there actually to make an assessment. So the incomplete information. I cannot know whether it's a strength or opportunity or weakness or whatever, depending on the information that has been given. It's my interpretation. So whatever you said is right. Maybe somebody said it's an opportunity. I have 100 books. Why should I worry about somebody else who has 5,000 books? I have 100 books. I can read them. That's an opportunity. Fine. Somebody said it's a challenge. I agree with that. Somebody said, well, whatever you said is fine with me. But start applying your mind to things now. So these 4 questions might have given you an idea that it's not always easy to assess something, whether something is a strength or weakness, opportunity. It depends on circumstances, situations. In fact, SWOC analysis is also called situational analysis. So situations keep changing, and they all depend upon our perspective. So an opportunity might very easily turn a strength to somebody. A strength within us may remain an unutilized advantage to many people. So, I mean, it's a question of aptitude, attitude, perspective, and interpretation, and so many other things. So all answers that you gave are right here. I mean, in case you want further discussion, maybe you can think on this. Right. Okay, let's move on. We are quickly going on to the second part of the presentation. I told you what SWOC analysis is. and we are going on to discuss why SWOC analysis. At this point, may I ask one or two of you, not everybody, one or two of you to tell me, why do you want SWOC analysis? Why do you want to know this?
To know our capabilities and weaknesses.
To know our capabilities, that is strengths, okay? What will you do? Suppose you know your strengths, what is the advantage?
What we are lacking of.
Oh, so that's your weakness. So I know what my weaknesses are, what am I.
This gives an opportunity for us to understand how should we go in the world and face the world with all this SWOC analysis.
I think you are coming closer to what I want. It's not only just knowing the strengths and weaknesses, but it is, I think, sorry?
This is just to make ourselves better.
To know our
Wonderful. Thank you. That's a very
competencies.
simple way of putting it. It's making ourselves better.
But
To know
also
our
start looking for opportunities, how I can improve myself, prepare myself for bigger challenges.
So to know our competency.
Knowing our competencies is only one small part of it, no? Knowing must have a purpose. Why should I know my strengths? So somebody said, I mean, in simple words, somebody said to improve ourselves, to become better, to be ready for the kind of eventualities that might
To know
arise.
the overall personality, sir.
Correct.
Personality.
To know our whole our personality, to improve, to build our personality, etc. Okay, let's see the slides now again. So knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom. So the day I open my eyes to myself, it's very easy to see the world outside, but I think it's very difficult to see ourselves. Many of us are not equipped to do that. I read a story somewhere, some young Buddhist monks, young children who joined a monastery had joined the first day. The first day they had joined a monastery, and the first lesson was given to them. And what was the first lesson? Not ABCD, not 1, 2, 3, 4, not mathematical tables. The first day was a lesson on breathing. I mean, this is perhaps from a true incident. So the Buddhist monastery has built a curriculum. And what is that curriculum? I mean, maybe self-realization, self-actualization, whatever that is. Maybe the first day, the first lesson, like you are starting with this SWOC analysis today, there, the first topic that was taught to them, that course that was given to them was on breathing, how to breathe. How little we know about breathing. And how perhaps, I think none of us sitting here in this virtual meeting now, I don't think we have been taught unless we went to a course in the art of living, or maybe we did yoga or whatever. I don't think we even know what breathing is, right? Or how do we have to breathe? What is a better way of breathing? So we have never educated ourselves on that. So knowing us, beginning of wisdom. Wisdom, not knowledge. Knowledge is different. Knowledge is what you gain in the library. Knowledge is what you do when you sit in a classroom. Knowledge is what you receive when you attend a lecture like this. I cannot make you wiser. It's very difficult. Only that's a different area of life altogether. So wisdom is different. So knowing oneself is the beginning of wisdom. Okay. Then I asked you the question, why SWOC analysis? So there are 6 answers here. If I know my strengths, I can further capitalize on them. If I know my weaknesses, I can overcome them. If I know my opportunities, I can exploit them, make the most of them. If I know the challenges that are around me, I can survive them, I can encounter them. And if I do my own SWOC analysis, I can be proactive. Proactive means the opposite of reactive. Instead of waiting for something to happen and respond to that, react to that, I am ready before the thing has happened. Proactive, and I can take better decisions. Somebody said this. So these are some advantages of doing a SWOC analysis. As a teacher, as an individual, as a businessman, as an industrialist, as a politician, whatever I am in, whatever field I am, SWOC analysis helps me do this. So it's not just knowing the strengths. Knowing the strengths is SWOC. SWOC analysis is different. SWOC is just knowing them. SWOC analysis is knowing them in such a way that we can capitalize on them. We are analyzing them, not just reading them. So we are analyzing our strengths, we are knowing our strengths so that each strength can be further strengthened. Each weakness can be weakened. That's the idea. So I think if you understand this slide, perhaps the purpose of my presentation today and the purpose of your presence here is met. So there is a picture of a pawn here, a chess pawn here. The pawn has the strength and the opportunity to become a queen. Provided it goes through the journey, it knows how to leverage. I use that word leverage. So it knows how to utilize the opportunity that is there. But it's not an easy journey. There are bound to be challenges on the way. It has its own weakness. What is the weakness? The pawn can move only one step ahead, unlike the other pieces on the chessboard. So it's perhaps that way, if you look at it that way, it's one of the weakest things on the board. But still, it has the potential, right? It has the opportunity to become the queen. Now, how many of us know that we have the potential to become something bigger? I think most of you are lecturers, or associate professors, and maybe assistant professors or professors, etc. But do you realize that you have the potential to become a big scientist, the potential to become a vice chancellor, the potential to become a registrar, the potential to become the education minister of the nation, something very, very, very big. You have the potential, but when will that happen? That happens only when you know how to do this SWOC analysis and go further. Otherwise, you are where you are. You start as a teacher and you end as a teacher. Right. So I'll leave that. I'll come to the last part of my presentation, which I told you is more important than the other things. And that is how to do this SWOC analysis. What is the procedure? How do I go about this? So I know what it is. I know why I do this, but how to do this, the third part. I think the easiest thing that needs to be done is to ask ourselves lots of questions. The more questions that I ask myself, I can do my SWOC analysis better. But I must know the right questions. I think wisdom begins by asking questions. The most enlightened person in the world is the one who has asked himself lots of questions. Right? I think I don't want to go into history, mythology, or other things to tell you how people became enlightened by asking themselves questions and how ancient wisdom is in the form of questions and answers. I'll not go into those details, but coming to my topic, SWOC analysis, the easiest way to do SWOC analysis to know the right questions that I need to ask myself. Okay. Maybe I'll give you an opportunity to unmute yourself here. I want to know my strengths. If you are not speaking to me, you have to mute yourself. If you are speaking to me, you can unmute yourself. I think the button is in your hand and use it wisely. Okay. So strengths, and I want to know my strengths. What question should I ask anybody? What questions give me answers to know my strengths? If you ask me a question, the answer that I give you is one of my strengths. So what question is that?
Who am I?
Sorry?
Who am I?
Who am I? Who am I gives me a meaning not about my strengths, but about my purpose, perhaps. Sorry?
What am I? What am I
also gives me an answer about, the purpose of my life, not my strengths. I want to know my strengths.
What can I do is the question we should ask ourselves.
What can I do? What can I do excellently? I think I'll just continue. What can I do excellently is
if I'm able to perform a particular task, be it mental or physical.
Right. Can I perform this? So maybe the answer is yes. If the answer is yes, okay,
what kind of work gives me best feedback or appreciation from the students or maybe other
what kind of, maybe I'll change your sentence a little. What kind of work gives me the highest satisfaction, or what kind of things do I enjoy doing? They are my strengths typically. Thank you very much.
How good am I at my work, or what are my resources?
How good am I? That's excellent. How good am I at what I do? I'm teaching in my class. How good am I is a beautiful question that gives me an insight into my strengths. Very good. Thank you so much. I think I prepared some questions for you, and I'll show those questions to you. And then maybe I don't have time to discuss every one of them. Maybe I'll choose one or two of them. Look at the second one, for instance. What do you do better than anyone else? There are 10 lecturers in your college, but there is something that you do better than the remaining 9. Out of the 10, you are the best as far as that is concerned. For instance, I speak excellent English, and I'm the only one who speaks so good English in my college. Right? The others also speak English, but not as good as I do. That's certainly a strength of mine.
I am good at correspondence.
Sorry?
Good at correspondence.
Whatever, good at correspondence, communication skills, language skills. Because you are a teacher, your body language skills, your subject knowledge, right? And your competence in pedagogic matters, right? These are the kinds of things. If you do better than others, it certainly is a strength. Better than others need not be the 9 people in your college. It can be maybe the whole department everywhere, maybe in the country, maybe in the world. There are things that you can do so very excellently, none can beat you there. Right? Maybe the fourth point, why do people praise you? So maybe your students praise you, your colleagues praise you, your principal must have praised you sometime, or maybe your research guide or somebody might have praised you for some things that you do really well. Right? Madam, you have that wonderful technique of making complicated things simple. When I was at Osmania University long ago, I left the university more than 40 years ago. I'm 70 now, right? So one of my professors used to say, many teachers are paid to make simple things complicated, but there are some good teachers who make complicated things simple. And if I'm one like that, I think that's a great strength. So whatever be the some subjects are a little difficult to explain, but if I can make a very complicated concept so very easy for my students to understand, that I think it goes straight to their hearts and minds, and they can never forget that. So if I have that technique of making complicated things simple, that's a great strength to me as a teacher. And if people praise me, if somebody praises me, sir, madam, you have this ability, sir, you have this ability to do this. I think I thought that was a very tough subject, but because you taught me, it has become so very easy for me. So maybe in case I want to analyze my strengths, I have to recall the kind of feedback that I received from people. Positive feedback that I received. That positive feedback that I got, I mean, I'm not talking about flattery. I think you can make a distinction between flattery and praise. People sometimes come and then tell all kinds of things. Sir, you are the best in the world. You are Indra, Chandra, whatever. But I'm not talking about that. So we can easily make a distinction between what is flattery and what's praise. So in case I receive some good praise and then good feedback, automatically there is a list of my strengths there. I can analyze that further to check what are the things that I'm good at. So like this, maybe you can start from these 6 or 7 questions that are there on the screen. You can have your own questions added to that, and then maybe if you ask all these questions in quietude, maybe we don't have time. This is not a practical session today. In case I had 6 hours or maybe 2 full days to do this, we'd have done every question in detail. So make a list of the questions that you'd like to ask yourself, find answers, and then answers cannot be found in half a minute. And then maybe you need several days to find answers to these questions. You need to make a very, very careful analysis of this. And if you are doing this analysis, not only for you, for your department, for your college, for your university, I think it's a much bigger thing. And I think one of you can take this up on a very, very large scale. Anyway, so let's move on from there. In case you want, you can take screenshots in between and you can keep them, or I'll also give you this slideshow later. Right. Sample strength. So I asked lots of people in my 70 years of life and also my 40 years of teaching career. After I retired from service. When was that? Maybe nearly 10 years ago. And during these 10 years, I've been doing lots of teacher training programs, and during my interaction with teachers, I prepared a list of typical strengths of teachers. So if a teacher says, I have a passion to be a teacher, I think that certainly is a strength. See, not all teachers are passionate because they have come here for lots of reasons. Some because they wanted to be teachers, some because they did not find anything better, or some because there was a good salary here. And let me not make fun of that, but maybe all kinds of teachers are there. All kinds of people are here who have become teachers. So if somebody says, I am here because this is my passion, all my life I wanted to be a teacher, and my heart has always been here. Right from my college days, I thought one day I should become a teacher. So if somebody is that passionate, I think that's a great strength actually. Because you're passionate, you enjoy doing what you're doing. Passionate people enjoy what they are doing. Right? Right. Then maybe look at the fifth one, have excellent communication skills. Don't think only language teachers, English teachers, Telugu teachers need communication skills. Teachers of all subjects, mathematics, physics, statistics, whatever, they need excellent, not ordinary, excellent communication skills. Teaching is communicating. Teaching, another, word for teaching is communicating. Communicating effectively. We need to convey what we have in our minds to our students quite effectively in such a way that they understand exactly what I want them to understand. Isn't it? So excellent communication skills is always a wonderful strength for any teacher. In fact, for anybody, not only teachers, in any profession, I think communication skills play a very, very, very important role. So like that again, so these 10 items that I have written there on the screen are some samples, right? They are examples of teacher strengths. Now, instead of this activity, because I cannot see your chat box here, what I'll do is maybe I'll make some immediate change. Some of you can tell me what are your academic strengths, teaching strengths. Maybe you can unmute yourself and speak one after another. It must be a strength and it must relate to your profession.
I'm confident. I'm confident.
Please say your name, the college where you work, and your strength.
Yeah. Myself, Mamta Rao from Maharashtra.
Mamta Rao, let me tell everybody, never introduce yourself with the word myself. Say I am Mamata instead of myself. Myself, Mamata is a wrong, bad English sentence. Okay, I'm sorry for correcting that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We are students, we are learning.
I know. All of us are. Even I am. Yeah. Right, next please. Somebody else?
Professor Savitri.
Yes.
I'm good at teaching. I'm having very good communicative skills. And I maintain very good interpersonal relationship with our students.
Wonderful. I think that's extremely useful for a teacher. Interpersonal skills, good interpersonal skills, ability to manage good interpersonal skills. Tell us one strength, anybody. One more? Or maybe I'll stop sharing it for a while and come back to this. Maybe that will look better, I think. Maybe I can see you. I think I can see you now. I can see this window. Yeah, anybody else?
Myself, Dr. Ganga.
Yeah, Ganga.
I do have a relationship with students. I used to keep good relationship with students. I used to get, I always try to become a mentor to the students.
Excellent. Personal relations with students. Of course, they should not become too very, what do you call them? They should not take advantage of that. But till then, in case we build and maintain good relations with our students, and if we are like their parents, and if we take that parental care of our students, I think it's an excellent strength for a teacher. Yes. One last, please.
I am Dr. Sugna Basuraj from Karnataka.
Yes, Dr.
I'm
Sugna.
good at teaching. I'm good at teaching. I work for student welfare.
Wonderful. So, I think you have now understood what exactly I had in my mind when I talked about teachers' strengths. Let me share my screen again. Can you see my screen again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, thank you. So, I just asked you to list. Maybe again, I told you you cannot easily do that in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. The time that I gave you is too very short to make a very clear, profound analysis of what your strengths are. Unless you ask yourself all those questions that we listed earlier, we cannot arrive at knowing our strengths. And I'm sure all of you will take a cue from here today, and you will do that in, quite an exhaustive, detailed way, so that you will arrive at a list of the strengths that you have, and you can further build on them. Okay, move on to weaknesses. This is slightly more difficult than assessing our strengths. Strengths are easy to perhaps, because maybe many of us have the habit of either overrating ourselves, or maybe we are not taught to appreciate our weaknesses, and the world, especially our society, the Indian society, does not encourage us to admit our mistakes and admit our weaknesses. And whatever be the reason, again, let's not go into that, but we need to have a very thorough analysis of our weaknesses. So I think you already saw a list of questions that help us identify our strengths. Now, based on that, can you give me 1 or 2 questions that help us know our weaknesses?
So certain times I'm impatient, sir. This is process cycle.
Okay. What questions will you ask me if you want to know my weaknesses? Suppose you are interviewing me.
Okay.
And you want to know my weaknesses. What will you ask me? Of course, you can straight ask what are your weaknesses. That's a bad question.
Yes. I have things.
Sorry? Any possible questions that you will ask me?
How do you manage your time and classroom discipline?
Suppose he says, I do it really well.
It can be seen when they demonstrate. There is
I'm not asking you to see. I'm you to ask me a question, the answer to which is a weakness.
Sir, I can ask you the question, what is it that you do not like to do?
Yeah, that's right. That's yeah. What is it that you cannot do? What are a few areas in which you are weak? What are a few things that you failed in doing? These kind of questions, perhaps will lead me to ask, if I ask those questions, they will lead me to know. Sorry?
What hurts you mostly?
Yes. Yeah, so this is a list of questions that give us an idea of what our weaknesses are. So what skills and knowledge that you lack, you do not have? What skills need to be improved? Yeah, I already have it, but it needs improvement. For instance, I was talking to you about my English language. In case my English language is just okay, I need to further improve that. I don't lack that. The first question says, I don't have it at all. The second one, I have it, but in limited quantity, and I need to further build on that. What do you avoid doing? Why do people avoid doing things? Many times, people avoid doing things because they're not confident. People avoid things because they are not capable of doing them, or they're shy of doing them, or perhaps they call themselves incompetent, and that's why they avoid doing. So if I ask you, what are the few things that you avoid doing, I can arrive at. Suppose somebody says, oh, one thing that I avoid is maybe whenever the college celebrates its college annual day, the principal, if he asks me to go and stand in front of the audience and speak, sir, I develop a shiver, and then I don't want to do that. So maybe you are deficient in your public speaking skills. Maybe classroom, perhaps you've done well, but public speaking skills are different, no? So based on the answers to these questions, we can arrive at a list of the weaknesses that we have. What do others see as your weaknesses? Maybe if you have good friends, good mentors, good counselors, they might have given you good feedback. Oh, you are very good at that, but this is one area you need to improve. Most likely our teachers and good guides and all of them, they tell us. I think everybody must have a set of friends who help us, who are like mirrors, who stand in front of us and tell us what our weaknesses are. And we must encourage them to do that, and we must appreciate their feedback. And in case I have a friend like that, I think I'm blessed. Okay, what are your negative work habits? Somebody, for instance, is lazy. Somebody does not come to college in time. Somebody does not evaluate papers in time. Somebody, work culture, the table is completely disorganized. Every day he's searching for the books. Every day he's searching for his attendance register. So bad, bad work habits also a kind of weakness. Because I told you they are internal, weakness are internal. This is something that I have made myself. This is not controlled by somebody. If I want, I can change it. I have absolute control over my habits. What time do I wake up? I have control over that. What kind of food do I eat? Right? If I feel sleepy during my class hours, college hours, so what change do I need to make to my food, to my sleeping habits, to my work culture, whatever? So I have control over that. So the negative work habits, right, are an indication of the weaknesses that you have. So maybe this list and many other questions that you can add to this list give you an idea of weakness. Why I'm showing you these questions is many people, I have attended 1 or 2 presentations on this topic by others, but they've told me what strengths and weaknesses are, and also they gave me a complete list of examples, but they did not tell me how to arrive at them. What is it that I need to do to know my own weaknesses? That's why this effort, that's why this slide. Okay. Yeah, here are some samples. So again, my personal experience of interacting with teachers across. So I have no teaching experience. Okay, there's a weakness, you admit, there's nothing wrong in that, because you do not have an experience. Maybe you are a young teacher, you are new to teaching. In India, anybody who has a postgraduate degree can become a teacher without teaching experience or without a teaching course. A course like B.Ed or M.Ed or a diploma in teaching or some such thing is not compulsory in India. So if you are a postgrad, knowledge is enough. Methodology is not really essential. It's not mandatory, right? To give you a job in a university, nobody asks you if you have qualified in the teaching methodologies. So no experience is bad, but it's a weakness. It can be there can be a strategy to overcome that, right? So what was the definition that I gave you? A weakness is internal and it is a barrier in achieving my goals. And what do I have to have? A strategy to overcome these weaknesses. What is that strategy? Perhaps will come later. I'm lazy. So being a teacher and being lazy are 2 things that do not go together, I think. And if you have to deliver a class for 1 hour, how much effort do you need to put in? How much, especially young teachers? And why young teachers? Everybody, even at the most advanced levels also, teachers put in a lot of effort, I know. Right? Because when I make a presentation, I know what kind of effort I need to put in. Right. So I have limited subject knowledge, 4th one, for instance. So I think it's really bad. It's not only bad, it's disastrous. It's harmful to you and to your students. If you do not know your subject well, I think you are damaging their future also. It's a great weakness, a weakness that can hamper your progress and also damage your students' progress. My English is not perfect, etc., etc., etc. These are samples of academic weaknesses. Again, I cannot do this exercise because we do not have access to that chat box or breakout rooms. But maybe I think it may not be appropriate for me to ask you to tell me about your weaknesses in public, but maybe you can make an assessment on your own privately. You need not tell me now. Maybe after you go home, think very deep. So what are the areas you have scope to improve? What are the areas you are completely deficient in? What was the constructive feedback that your colleagues and seniors and mentors and advisors, maybe your parents and sometimes your children are the best people to depend to look for feedback. So in case you have that, and then maybe you have a list of the academic weaknesses, the professional weaknesses, if you make a list of them, perhaps you will have, you can easily develop a strategy to overcome them. So please do that. I'll not ask you now. Maybe I'll skip this. I'll move on. How do we easily beat our weaknesses? Maybe the easiest way is to tell ourselves that nothing is impossible, nothing is difficult. I think if I make up my mind and if I decide with firm resolution, I can certainly improve. So there is nobody in the world who did not have, what do you call them, the speed breakers in the progress journey. So nobody just became successful overnight, no? So they all had gone through lots of obstacles, and I also have some obstacles in my course, and maybe I'm gradually trying to overcome them. The road to success is not a bed of roses. It's not an easy one. I'm prepared to fall, but I'm also prepared to rise every time I fall. So that's, if you make resolutions like that, you can easily overcome your weaknesses. Okay, I'll leave this. So a few other strategies to overcome weaknesses. So first of all, you must discover your weaknesses. Sometimes others may not tell you for modesty, for other reasons. I mean, I think I made a mention of it a little while earlier. People do not easily tell us what our weaknesses are. They usually, people appreciate, people praise and leave there. I personally experienced it many times. When I ask people, how was my presentation? Excellent, sir. This is the only answer they give. I think 99% people say, excellent, sir, superb, sir. That's all. I mean, they don't tell me why it was excellent. They don't tell me why it was good. They don't tell me why they liked it. They just use that word. Great lesson, sir. That's all. Great. Why great? What was that great about it? Okay. Then once I discover my weakness, I must make a resolution. I'm going to stop from today. My English is bad. I'm going to start today. Immediately after this class over, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever, I am going to start improve my English. How do I improve? Maybe there are lots of ways. I'll explore. I'll find the best way available, the best way possible, but I am going to do this. Right? My confidence level is low. I'm going to stand in front of a mirror and I'm going to tell myself, yes, I can do this. This is possible to me. If it's possible to her, him, her, so many people, why is it not possible to me? I can do this. So I'll become I'll give myself self-confidence, right? And restrain yourself from doing things. Congratulate yourself whenever you do something good. Persist, even if you fail in the middle, even if there are some internal pullbacks. I mean, persist. Again and again, try again, till you conquer. So these are some very simple strategies that you can use to overcome your weaknesses, and you can have your own strategies added to that. Okay. Are you all ready for the third situational analysis, opportunities? Yes or no? I think it's 10.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very good. We are almost an hour into it, and we have another 35 minutes. So opportunities analysis. So we have seen how we analyze our strengths, how we analyze our weaknesses. Now we are going outside. So how do we analyze the opportunities which I cannot lay my hands on yet? Perhaps they are not easily visible, even if I look within or outside. They are hidden perhaps somewhere, but I must be able to evaluate them. I must be able to discover them. They are there, but they need to be discovered, right? They need to be opened up. What do I do? So what is this opportunities analysis? So the questions that I need to ask myself to find out my opportunities are, what opportunities are available to me to learn? I'm a physics teacher. I did my MSc 5 years ago. I want to improve my knowledge of physics. Is there any course available to me? Is there any journal available to me? Is there any subject related magazine available to me? Is there any book in the library available to me? Is there any senior colleague in my department who can help me? Like that. Or can I join, if I am not a PhD, can I join a PhD course and then pursue my studies further? These are the kinds of things that will, if I ask that question in detail, I find opportunities available. Who are the people? What are the resources? What are the things that I can do? What are the courses I can join? What are the certifications I can get? Right? These are opportunities. And these opportunities, just because there is an English institute next door, suppose you live in a certain house and then next door, in the next building, there is an English institute. That's an opportunity. But when will that opportunity become a real opportunity and it will begin yielding results? Only when I join a course, go every day, take the course seriously, do all the assignments they give me, and evaluate myself, help myself. All that, only when it happens, that English Institute in the next building becomes a real opportunity. Otherwise, just a resource available to me, but not exploited, not utilized. So don't mistake. Suppose somebody asks you what are the opportunities that you have. If you say, just say, there is an English coaching institute in the next building. It is there, but it becomes your opportunity when you utilize that. Like that example that I showed you, I have 100 books, somebody else for 5,000 books. So I have 100 books, but have I opened them? Or he has 5,000 books, but has he opened them? Has he used them? Are those 5,000 books, they relate to his topic, subject? He has 5,000 books, but maybe all of them are maybe just fiction, not related to the subject that he teaches. We don't know. That does not, detail is not given there in that quiz question that I asked you. So what opportunities to learn? Learn here relates to my subject knowledge are open to me. What situations can I take advantage of? I've just given that example of another university opening up there. Or my own department, my own university, my own college has opportunities. I mean, it may sound a little harsh if I tell you, but I know teachers who have not utilized the resources available within the college. I'm very sorry if I'm blunt at that. There is a beautiful playground in some colleges. Teachers have never played any game. There is a wonderful library in the college. The teachers have never gone there. There are excellent senior faculty members available in the department. We don't talk to them. We don't seek their guidance. There are very brilliant students in our classrooms, and we don't take advantage of that. So if the situation is not taken advantage of, it is not an opportunity. Right? In fact, I don't know if I should discuss my personal experiences with you, but I tried it when I was teaching long ago in various colleges all across Telangana. I taught in about 10-15 colleges because it was a government job. I tried to, wherever I was, I tried to create some teacher forums where, for instance, I retired from the place called Gajwel, about 60 kilometers from Hyderabad. Before I retired, I worked there for about 6 or 7 years, and I created a forum where every week one teacher has to speak about any topic, any subject of their choice. It can be the subject that they teach or anything in general, for about half an hour, and the people participate. The students will be the other teacher colleagues and any interested students. When I proposed that, initially there was a lot of resistance. Many teachers said, no, we'll not do this. But once it picked up, it did really outstanding. That's one of the best outreach experiences that I have in my life. Most of my colleagues still remember me for that. So what happened there? So we created an opportunity for ourselves. An opportunity that was not there, actually we created for ourselves. Everyone teaching others, everyone introducing. For instance, if I teach something about my subject to them, I think everyone stands to gain. I don't know anything about statistics, but if a statistic teacher comes and then, talks about something very basic, something that every teacher can understand, it's a great advantage, no? So do I have people to help me, advise me, either in the department or at home or anywhere? For instance, if I am a biology teacher and then I am a member of a group of biology teachers. These days, WhatsApp groups for every bloody thing, there is a WhatsApp group. There can be WhatsApp groups for good purposes also. For instance, you create a group of, I created a group of ELT colleagues some 10 years ago. If there are any English teaching colleagues here, they might know it also. And it's always full, 256 people are waiting. And then we have very strict guidelines about what can be posted, what should not be posted. And everybody helps everybody. Everything that happens in the group is extremely helpful to every member of the group. So maybe if there is a group already, I can join that, or I can create a group so that we get professional help, professional advice. So I have this, I'm stuck at this, I'm not able to teach this lesson. So I'm not able to explain this concept, or maybe what is the latest development on this. So if I post a question here, if I have a dozen colleagues who can help me, guide me, I think that's the most brilliant way of utilizing an opportunity. So there is a colleague there who knows it better than me, and then if I can utilize that, wonderful. So these are a few questions that will help me understand my opportunities, appreciate my opportunities. So there are some samples here. Okay, let's just take a look at some 3 or 4, not all. But the second one, eventually I could go on for my PhD. I'm not a PhD already, and I'm planning to do my PhD. Luckily, there is a university somewhere nearby, and there is a PhD guide. There is a doctoral guide there available. I have approached him already, and then he asked me to take admission next year. Some such thing. There is an opportunity. That opportunity becomes real when I register, when I start working, and when I finish, and when I become a doctorate, etc. Right? 5th one, we have well-equipped laboratories in our college. Many colleges have good laboratories, but I think, again, this is a fact. Many of us underutilize them. Many of us use laboratories only to do what is the minimum required, what is prescribed for the students. So we use the laboratories only to teach students what they have to learn. But many passionate teachers utilize the laboratories for their professional growth, to learn on their own. So something that's happening beyond the curriculum, beyond the syllabus of the students, and something that helps everyone. I think in case there is a well-equipped laboratory, it can be done. 15 days before I retired from service in 2011, I approached the government of Andhra Pradesh, then a combined district, and I asked for a language laboratory. That was the first language laboratory in a rural area. I got funds that by the time I retired, I think the language laboratory was in place. Right? So how do we utilize them? How do we establish them? What do we do them with the available things is opportunities. So the other things also, maybe there are, I think, 10 questions there listed, perhaps, maybe, 1 second, I'm sorry, I'm moving it away. The last question can be seen. So there are some very basic things like personal loans, family, etc., etc. But indirectly they contribute to your professional growth. What I'll do is, maybe like you did it a while ago, maybe some 4 or 5 of you can unmute yourself and tell me about your the academic opportunities that you have. Anyone? Professional, academic opportunities that you have available to you, either already utilized or not utilized. Okay, would you like to tell us about that? Please tell us where you work. Yeah, Lakshmi, please.
We have an opportunity to do a good short-term course like this to learn better.
Wonderful. Where do you work, Lakshmi?
Sir, I work with University of Hyderabad.
Great, wonderful. I think that's a wonderful place. I think you have plenty of opportunities for professional growth there. Yes.
Thank you,
one
sir.
more. Someone else?
Sir.
Yes, Savitri.
Yeah. In our Tirupati, we are having a lot of institutions, educational institutions in our locality. We can have the collaborative works and with the different institutions. That is the one thing. And also we are having good laboratories in our university. That is the central facilities we are having, which can be utilized by all the departments.
Wonderful, wonderful. Where do you work, you said?
Sri Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, sir.
Padmavati Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Tirupati. Excellent. Congratulations for that. One more, please. What academic professional opportunities you have for your career growth? Anyone else? I cannot see all of you. This allows only some.
Sir, if I am appointed as a coordinator of IQAC, this is just an example.
Okay, so if I am appointed an IQAC coordinator is a desire. That's not an opportunity. The opportunity is there is an IQAC in our college and there is the position of a coordinator. That's an opportunity. And if I want to exploit that opportunity, what should I do? I must go to the principal and say, sir, I'm interested in being the coordinator. Or I must do things that will help the principal realize my potential. Oh, you have done this already. I think you can do this. Come and do this job. So he must come and offer it to me. So either I must go and ask for that opportunity, or I must demonstrate my skills so that the principal comes and gives that opportunity. So presence of an IQAC cell in your college is the opportunity. Right, wonderful. Thank you very much, all of you. I'm going back to my slideshow. One moment. I think there are some small issues here. Every time I need to go through this. Okay. Yeah. I've done this activity in a different way. Okay. I think these two pictures speak a lot. I don't need to explain them to you. So many people, many people are like the gentleman in the left picture. So I gave you the example of a lovely library, playgrounds, laboratories, bright students, senior colleagues available in the college, but they help us, they help us grow as teachers only if we utilize that. No, if we don't know how to utilize that, it's like all those ladders that you see on the ground, and one ladder is enough to climb up to that level, but the gentleman, the fellow there does not know how to use that. And the man on the right side is painting a ladder for himself. However foolish that might look, but I think that's growing up, right? So opportunity sometimes does not come and knock at our doors, but we have to build the door. So the door is there, I think. And if we are alert and if we know how to utilize the opportunities that are available, bigger opportunities come. Okay. Right, let's move on to the last one. I think it's 11:10. Okay, challenges analysis. So maybe again I'll follow the same concept. So I'll give you a list of questions that will help you know your challenges. So what are the questions that you can ask yourself? What obstacles do you currently face? Are there any obstacles in your career progress? You have already a plan. You have set a course. You want to achieve that goal, but something is stopping you and you have no control over it. Something happening outside. Maybe, for instance, simple, easiest example to think of is the lockdown. You wanted to finish your PhD by the end of May, and the lockdown came in the way. And the lockdown perhaps did not allow you to go to the university, borrow books, meet your guide, and do a few things. So this was something beyond your control. You could not stop that. Right? But it stopped you. Right? What are your competitors doing? Other people are doing in the field, but you're not doing it. That's a challenge. That can lead to a challenge. I have some strengths, but no longer people are looking for those strengths. And look at the technical virtual platforms that have become very popular today, for instance. I was a great lecturer. I was very good at giving wonderful lectures, but because I have not kept myself abreast of the latest technical developments, I don't know how to operate that Zoom. I don't know how to operate some other platform. So my strength was lecturing. My strength was maybe research or something else, but because I'm not familiar with this, my strengths are no longer in demand. So have I not, because I have not updated my strengths in the newer areas of progress, so I have been left behind. These are some questions that give us a peep into our challenges. So here are some sample challenges. So for instance, we have no PhD guides in this town. I work in a place, I work in a small place here, and then there are no PhD guides. I want to PhD. How can I get PhD guides to my town? That's not in my control, right? I mean, the answer is, of course, I must have passion. I must go to the place where a PhD guide is available, however difficult that is, and maybe I can transact with him. I can consult and take guidance on phone more times, and I can physically meet less number of times. Our physical presence is essential. Going to the library is essential. I have to maybe sacrifice some other priorities in my life and do this. So a challenge has to be encountered. They are not insurmountable. Don't say, sir, just because this is a challenge, I'm stopping here. There is a wall here, I've stopped here. That's not the answer. You must have a way to go around, right? I mean, if you want to reach beyond the wall, you must have a way. Either break the wall or go around the wall, or maybe think of a ladder or whatever. There must be a way. So because there are no PhDs, it is a challenge, but the challenge must be overcome. I have a heavy workload. I've been teaching here, and then I have maybe 24 periods, 24 hours of teaching. That's how we worked in graduate college. I don't know how it is in universities now. Maybe universities have a little less workload, I think, allows more research-oriented work and all that. But when I taught long ago, I had to teach 24 hours of 24 class of 50 minutes every week. That was really tough, but we had to do that. It was physically quite demanding, and then in many other aspects also it was quite devastating. That's a challenge, but I have to face that challenge, right? The fourth one, my department does not have any good library. So there are not many books relating to my subject in my library. So that's a challenge. I mean, in case there is a challenge, I told you already, there must be a way to overcome that. Maybe I can go to the principal and say, sir, I need these books. I need a budget for this, and then please order these books. Or I can buy them myself if I can afford. Or I can go to somebody, somewhere else, some other college where I get those books. Or maybe I can check whether those books are available online. Some such thing. See, there are alternative strategies, but the challenge is a challenge. I don't have a control over that, but still I can manipulate my circumstances to some extent in such a way that I can overcome that. That is the whole idea. I need to understand, to distinguish between weaknesses and challenges. So if I don't have enough books at home, that's a weakness. But if I don't have enough books relating to my subject in the college library, it's a challenge, right? Maybe some other things, like I'm not on good terms with the principal, it can lead some ego problems, other problems, etc., also can be challenges. Okay. Maybe I'll not trouble you by asking you to tell me some of the challenges that you have, but I just would like to start concluding my presentation by telling you that ships are built to be on the seas, and there are bound to be challenges, risks, and threats, right? But you cannot allow a ship to always remain in the harbor because it's safe. If I am a lecturer already, if I am drawing a handsome salary, and if I am comfortable with that, I'm absolutely safe. But I'm not built for that. That's not the expectation from my career. So a teacher who rests on the laurels that he has already won, and a teacher who does not upskill, upgrade, update, and continuously be a student, I think the whole purpose of being a teacher is lost. You are destroying the future generations, isn't it? So I have to update myself, not only because I have chosen this profession, but in the interest of the students whose lives I handle, whose future I handle, I need to constantly update myself. So the challenges are bound to be there, and a strategy to encounter the challenges also must be there. Many times challenges look like challenges, but if you manipulate them well, they become opportunities. All that you need is uncover them, see them properly in the perspective, right? And make that initial effort to ensure that you can convert those challenges into opportunities. Don't quit, right? Do it. Maybe this is one of my last slides. So whenever you do this SWOC analysis, I have 5 tips for you there. So don't be, what do you call, generous with yourself when you do this analysis. So you must be absolutely rigorous, objective. You must work like a good quality mirror. When you look at yourself, don't tell yourself, oh, no, this is okay, and overrate yourself, or maybe too very much underrate yourself. No, be absolutely objective. If you think that your skills are good, excellent, bad, hopelessly bad. So you might, who else can evaluate you unless you evaluate yourself? Or maybe if you do not do it, who else will do it for you? I mean, the world may not always give you an exact picture of what you are, but you can give yourself that. And this needs a little practice, a little effort, a little objectivity, right? And also maybe persistence. Maybe when you first sit down, perhaps you will not be able to do that, but if you continuously become habituated to that, what are you good at? What are you not so good at? What are you bad at? What needs continuous improvement? If you tell yourself and if you make it a habit, I think this happens not only, I mean, the slideshow that I showed you, I have prepared exclusively for you and I have made it relevant to teachers, but maybe you can make some changes and then you can use it anywhere. This is the kind of SWOC analysis. For instance, if you are a football player, so what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your challenges? The same thing applies, no? So it's helpful to everybody. And you must view from all perspectives, not just one-sided. So if you develop the art of looking at things from multiple perspectives, automatically your SWOC analysis is more balanced, more unprejudiced. You must be realistic, you must be very, very specific. And when you are getting data, like in a research project, it must be verifiable fact. For instance, if I say many people praised me, many people means how many people spoke to you, how many people praised you, and among them, how many people praised you for this specific fact. So like that, if you make a factual analysis, right? Very, very, what do you call that? Objective analysis. I think it's easier for you to arrive at a SWOC analysis of yourself. Then in case you have arrived at your SWOC analysis and you have decided in a course of action, you must prioritize what is first, what is next, what is next. Suppose these 5 things I need to do in the next 4 months. So what should I do first? So if you prioritize, it becomes easier for you. So what I'll do is I've already posted, after speaking to Professor Narasimlu, I have posted him a Word file, and this is just a blank sheet of paper with some simple questions given there. So there are 4 blocks in that. I think I have a model of that here. I'll just see. Yeah, this is the one that I sent to him. So you write your name at the top, and you also write the date, because SWOC analysis does not remain the same throughout your life. So the SWOC analysis that you do today may not be relevant tomorrow. You might have changed. The opportunities might have changed. The circumstances might have changed. The challenges perhaps are no longer challenges, right? Your weaknesses perhaps already have been overcome. So your SWOC analysis must always be dated. Dated in the same, I mean, not that meaning of the word dated, but it must always be the right date must be put there so that you will know when you did that and what you arrived at. So, so put the date, write your name, and then, for instance, what do you do well, what unique resources you have, etc. Some of the questions that I showed you on the screen, I wrote there, and taking cue from there, you can fill out those blank columns, as many as. If the space is not enough, use additional sheets, write all your strengths, write all your weaknesses, and then all your opportunities and all your challenges. Then start thinking how you can have a good strategy to strengthen your strengths, and then fight your weaknesses, then exploit your opportunities, then overcome your challenges, become proactive, take the right decisions at the right time to ensure your career progresses positively. So I'll stop there. This is my email address, lionnagaraju@gmail.com. In case you have any questions about what we discussed today about SWOC analysis, please feel free to write to me. I assure you that I'll give you a reply, if not immediately, at the earliest possible. I respond to all my mails. Sometimes I may not be able to respond to them immediately, but I'll certainly respond to you. Then there are two websites they're shown. This slideshow is available at. One is authorstream.com and the second is slideshare.net. I have posted almost all my slideshows in the open domain there. All my slideshows are my own. I mean, this is one way of proving that, and so I put them in the open domain. So I've been using these two websites for the last 20 years or so. So every single slideshow I created, I have put there, and you can access them. Like if you write a book, you would like it to be read by everybody. So also my slideshows are there in the open domain, and you can use them for your purposes. So thank you very much. I am stopping. How do I stop this once? You can just give me a moment.
Thank you, sir.
Have I, is this, I think, is my slideshow still seen?
No, sir, no.
Okay, I've stopped it now. Now I think we have some 6 or 7 minutes in case you have any questions, in case you have any comments, in case you have any suggestions, please make them. I'm receiving some words of appreciation. Thank you, everyone. I can see the chat box now.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to say that it's not that we are not aware of our strengths and weaknesses, but you have spoken about this entire SWOC analysis in such a way that we might be, will look into our SWOC things in a more systematic way, so that we can get the output, constructive output out of it. My question is that, and maybe all women who are present here, they will be with me and they will understand me in a better way, that as we have to look after home also, sometimes, academic priority and the kind of input we require becomes very difficult to give it. So how to deal with that dilemma of being a good mother, being a good wife, and at the same time being a good professional? Because we see that there are resources, but we can't utilize because we don't have time, or maybe because we have to give some other people time. This is one from our side. Second, it also becomes very difficult to make people understand who are around you that we are also professional. They have this kind of thinking that if you are in teaching, what is there to read for 2 hours to teach 1 hour? Okay, so it becomes very difficult sometimes, to manage all these notions which people have around you. So can you just throw some light how we can deal with that?
Thank you, Dr. Deha, for those questions and also for the inputs that you've given me. Women are always at a disadvantage in India, at least outside, in terms of their the load that they have to carry and the tasks that they have on hand. But at the same time, I must tell you that women are certainly more successful than men, at least in the academic fields. I think more women PhDs, more women scholars, more women successful teachers. And I think they have managed their time extremely well despite all those odds against them. And I'm sure they'll continue doing that. And individually, of course, if you have any challenges, if you have any difficult areas, maybe you have to take your family into confidence, and then maybe you have to get more help from people that can help you. And this is at the personal level, you need to manage that. I don't have any ready-made solutions for everybody, but I am personally sure that in case you resolve, and if you are really passionate, nothing can stop you, nothing can stand in your way. Then regarding professional growth, of course, it is a continuous process, whatever age you are, whatever level you are, whatever kind of college or university you are working at, and whatever be the subject that you teach. It is a lifelong process. I think there's nothing called the end point. There's nothing called, okay, I've done enough and this is enough. No. So for a teacher, it's just not possible. I told you just now that I retired some 11 years, 10 and a half, 11 years ago, and I continue to be associated with every teaching pedagogic issue. I mean, one second, please. I think there is a pop-up window here. So we have to continuously be in touch with the latest, and then we have to continuously update ourselves. This is a lifelong process as long as we continue to be teachers. Any other question, please?
Good morning, sir. I have a query. How that SWOT means the threats are different from the challenges in the SWOT analysis?
Will you please say that again? How about that?
Then we had earlier SWOT analysis, right, sir? SWOT. Now we have SWOT analysis, SWOC.
Yeah,
what
Dr.
is different?
Sudhanshu, that I have understood your question. Dr. Sudhanshu, this is only an interpretation of the term threat, because many people did not like the word threat. It's not a threat actually. What we have around are challenges that need to be. And threat has a negative connotation. Threat, something frightens you, and it does not allow you to grow further. It moves, it pushes you back. And a threat is something that tells me, oh, you cannot do this. But a challenge is something that tells me, oh, you can try this, you can do this. And that's why, so the whole world is now changing, using the term SWOC instead of SWOT. But very frequently, it's used synonymously. People interchange the word, people use threat and challenge almost one for another. But personally, I think challenges is a more appropriate term.
Okay, so my second question is, sir, I always think, because I'm not very much always doing the SWOT analysis earlier, but I think the weakness and threats and weakness and challenges, they are more likely similar kind of things, because weakness means they are challenges for us, or weakness means they are threats for us, isn't it?
No, I think maybe perhaps, I don't know if you attended from the beginning, towards the first, while presenting one of the first few slides, I told you weaknesses are within you or with you, and you have absolute control over them. You can change them. You have absolute control, so that you can continuously modify them, improve them, change them, subdue them, and all that. Whereas external things, for instance, what will you do with Corona? Corona is not your weakness, no? Right?
No,
Our lockdown is not your weakness. No, lockdown is a challenge. Lockdown is certainly not a weakness. But suppose you cannot speak good English. What will the world do with it? You have to do it.
So, sir, speaking not good English is my weakness as well as a challenge for me.
Correct.
But it's a challenge for me also.
It is not a challenge, it's a weakness that you need to overcome. That you have to have a strategy, or to develop a strategy to be better, to overcome that weakness that you have, because you know, you've realized it today. You've realized, oh, this is the reason why I'm not able to progress here. Or if I do this, I can progress better. So I've realized my weakness. And I have an easier strategy. To encounter challenges, you need a strategy. Perhaps that's not within your control. You have to wait, or you have to wait for the situation to change.
Okay. Sir, if I say speaking not a good English is my weakness, but finding is a good teacher may be a challenge.
Finding a good teacher can be a challenge, yes. Maybe in case you work in a place where there are not many great teachers to help you, it can be a challenge.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
To remember easily and to understand it easily, something that you can easily handle, something that you have absolute control over, something that you are responsible for, is a weakness, and something you have very little control over, something that you cannot manipulate much, is a challenge.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I think Professor Narsimlu is waiting.
No. If there are no, I mean, I was listening to some of the interactions, and if there are no further questions from the participants, yeah, it's time to have a break. And I profusely thank nagaRAJU Garu for sparing his time and interacting. And I could be able to see quickly the responses in the chat box too. People are happy and they are expressing their happiness with the interactions that they had. And nagaRAJU Garu will be there again tomorrow. Anything that you could not ask today also, you can talk to him tomorrow. And